So, second job, if we're going to do the glow cuts and the wheel bearings all in one day, driving around, I've noticed there's a rattling coming off this wheel, and on the slowdown there's a vibration on the steering wheel and on the car itself. I had an issue, not without the vibration on the front wheel, and it turned out to be the guard behind the disc guard, the hub assembly guard, and it was just literally a bolt that had ripped off, so the thing was rattling, especially on slowdown. I've checked the guard here, it's not the guard, and a quick inspection behind the wheel has revealed oil on the disc, and so that oil is probably coming from a busted hub seal. That oil is coming through the diff, through the half shaft, onto the disc, and probably contaminating the wheel bearing inside the hub itself. So we're gonna have to take that apart, have a look, and the oil has probably contaminated it, and the wheel bearing has probably started to seize up. So yeah, we're gonna take that off, change it, and that is gonna be done with my amazing trusted mechanic Tshepo. The important point, I've done one of these before on my own, brake pads, everything on that myself, but if you have access to a mechanic as an overlander, there's no argument, there's no debate. Use your mechanic, have your mechanic. It's not just about doing it yourself. Yeah, you do it yourself only when you have to, and every other time you're learning, you're always learning. And especially with someone like Tshepo, who basically does it without a lot of the equipment outside a garage at the moment. Even though he's getting his garage, I'm gonna hopefully post about that and get his little business promoted. But especially someone who knows how to do it with minimal amount of effort, you're always learning as an overlander, and that comes in use when you have to do it. As an overlander, you only ever do a job on your own, as a sizable job. I'm not talking about servicing and all that sort of thing, of course, but a sizable job you only do on your own when you have to. So let's get it on, man. And last thing, man. Wheel bearings, I don't know why, but it's every overlander's dream. Every time you go on YouTube, overlanders love doing them on their own. Good for them. I think it's because it's one of the hardest jobs you can do on the road, I think. So yeah, wheel bearings are every overlander's wet dream. So let's off-road, let's on-road, and let's have a wet dream. If that makes any sense.
First thing to do is to remove the brake caliper set. Pull out those split pins that hold the brake pads in place, and push back the brake pistons, to remove the brake pads. Then finally, take the caliper mounting bolts out using a 13mm. I know some people prefer using empirical 1/2 inch. If it's worn down, it might be better, but they should come out. And Bob's your uncle, your brake caliper's off. Next, take off the 5 hub bolts holding the half shaft in place using a 17mm socket.
This is oil leak from because the hub's leaking. You can see that the oil from the wheel bearing that's gone has got onto the brake pads.
Next, to remove the hub nuts, you use a special box spanner, you can see here, 52mm. To torque it, it doesn't have an adapter, so we use a screwdriver, and later added the handle of the trolley jack, anything to get leverage really. Once you've got to the hub nut, there's a lock washer usually that you have to bend back, that's bent in. So you just bang it gently to straighten, and that hub assembly should come off quite easily after that. The front wheel bearing should come out relatively quick. Then take out the center spacer. You're going to need a punch of some sort to bang out the back wheel bearing and the center spacer, which is hung on a lip. Take care, we've used here the arm of a ratchet, and generally you use a punch if you've got one, a soft iron punch, to get that center spacer off and the back bearing out. Tshepo used a bit of paraffin to clean out all the oil that had breached from the diff through the half shaft. Always a good tool to have, always a good little thing to have with you, handy on the trip, on the road, good for cleaning off oil. And here we have Tshepo using it here on the wheel bearing. Taking out the new wheel bearing on the back side and the centre spacer. We use the old centre spacer with a copper mallet to gently bang it in, and eventually we use the old wheel bearing, which is narrower, to get that centre spacer to sit perfectly on the lip on the back end of the hub.
It will go from a tapping sound to like a dong sound, and you know then it's hit the lip and you've got the right space. So you just bang it, you bang this in until you get down to this lip, and when you're banging it down, you'll hear like a dong sound, like it's much more of a belly sound, like a deeper sound.
Pack that back wheel bearing tightly with lithium grease, multi-purpose grease, making sure to get it right in between the rollers and inside out and around the wheel bearing. You can actually over-grease at some point actually, and what happens is under heat it can oxidize and start burning the wheel bearing. So there is a maximum amount of grease you should do. Just try and pack it in and just in and around the wheel bearing, and then put on the back rubber seal. That is exactly what caused us trouble in the last time. That gave way, and that's why the oil was pouring down into the wheel bearing and the hub. So yeah, make sure we use the old rubber seal, and we banged it in on the Pumas. It sits about a few millimeters, just a millimeter or two below the flush with the top of the hub. So yeah, but I think when you're taking out the old one, just check and make sure that it's how it's sitting, and just repeat it and be gentle with the banging. Turn over the hub and repeat the process back to front with the front wheel bearing, putting in the center spacer first using the old center spacer and the old wheel bearing to get it onto that lip, flush with that lip. Tshepo's preferred to use the copper mallet on his iron mallet. Everyone has their own process. Just banged it in, but whatever works, just make sure you don't damage that center spacer and the wheel bearing. Following that, you pack it again, the front wheel bearing with grease, and just place it on, and Bob's your uncle. You have a new set of wheel bearings on your hub.
Okay, so we have an issue. The new bearings, are facing like you're putting it on the backside, don't fit. We've been struggling. These bearings are the same front and back, we found, and they've been the same for the Defender. I suddenly start thinking maybe the older 300. I had these spares now for the old 300 TDI, and maybe these old spares didn't work on the new TDCI. But it looks like all the bearings have been the same since the Defender came out, since 200 T, the first one in 200 TDI in 1984, whatever it was. So we are struggling to get the bearing onto the hub this way around. And what Tshepo suggested is that it's possible this has been bent out of shape. So it fits on this way, as in, so the front hub fits fine, but the back, we're really struggling to get it. So where it goes on the back of the hub, we're really struggling to get that on. So there's two options right now. Use the old one, because it looks like what happened was there was a leak from the hub seal. The hub seal probably went and was leaking oil from the diff. So we can actually use the old one, which has been shaped into. I'm not going to struggle on now. But we can actually put this one on the old one, because the bearing looks fine. That's not ideal, because of course the old bearing is going to go eventually. Then you've got one new, one old. That's not ideal. Yeah. And does that happen when it heats up because the oil went on it? So the oil went on it and then it oxidized and then it got heated up?
It went without oil. Like, because of the oil then there was no oil, then it got hot and it loses the shape. It happens. That's the thing with cars, man. They get you excited wanting, and I can even feel it when you try to put it on. It gives you a little bit of a certain shape, certain shape that does allow you to go in. You see, like it cuts here, the other side doesn't catch. You see, this is, which means somewhere here there's an egg shape somewhere here.
Gotcha. And that's from the overheating on the from.
But you might find out only this only does when.
But it must be minor, because if it goes in the front way, then it's that's amazing how precise it has to be.
Yeah,
it's amazing how let's sand it down and let's keep sanding it.
Keep sanding it.
So we are sanding down the bearing. So
a bit of it, not a lot of it.
So just for the camera, using transmission just to lubricate the hub, so we can get the back bearing on smoothly, hopefully. So we're now doing it twice. We're going to try and put it on.
Put back the hub nuts and hand tighten. There is a torque setting for that hub nut with the box, using the box spanner. It's about 220 newtons per meter, but there's no way of using a torque wrench on that box spanner without the adapter. So a good measure is to just hand tighten. It's important not to over tighten. That can actually cause trouble on your wheel bearings and actually cause them to wear down very quickly. So be careful, just give it a good hand tighten, and then after that it's good to just give it a spin and make sure there's no noise emanating from the wheel bearings. Make sure it's smooth, and once you've done that, you can bend down the thrust washer or lock washer back into the lock position, bend it down one side and up the other side. Put back the half shaft. There is a paper gasket actually between the half shaft and the hub. There wasn't one there when we took it off actually on ours, on the Puma, but yeah, usually there is a paper washer that goes there in between. It's good to use Loctite on those hub bolts before you put them on to keep them nice and tight in place. And there you go. You've replaced your wheel bearing and put your hub back on, and you're ready to go.